cat in another life. Now I'm a cat, no one knows my plight. I used to have hands, now only paws. No opposable thumbs to play these chords. No one listens, no one sees how I struggle to play these piano keys. I should be writing a symphony, but I'm a TikTok cat and you're laughing at me. I am Mozart, trapped in a cat. I am Mozart, trapped in a cat. Take me back to 1761, when I was 5 years old and my career just begun. 7 years as a cat, and all I can manage is one key at a time, and even that is a challenge. The music is trapped inside my brain, no way to express myself, I'm going insane. What did I do to deserve this fate? Can anybody help me escape this feline state?
Why can't my cat do that? She sits on her lazy ass, sleeps all day, poops and eats.
What the heck? Get up there and start playing some music.
Yeah. You know what? I wish my cat could hold a feather duster and just do some dusting around the apartment. I'd be happy with that. But playing Mozart wouldn't be bad.
Yes, that was definitely Mozart, the reincarnation of Mozart. Hey, who's to say there's this idea of transmigration of souls, that we could theoretically be reincarnated as anything, including an animal. What do you think? What do you think? You think you could be reincarnated as an animal?
I wouldn't mind coming back as my cat. She has a pretty easy life, just lay around and comfort and be fed and taken care of.
You wonder about the karma of a cat like your cat and what they did right to get you as a parent.
Well, Mila too. Mila's a very lucky kitty cat.
Oh my God. She's so spoiled. She gets the best food, the best cat litter. You recommended some great cat litter. Yes, the Arm & Hammer. She loves it.
Yes.
And she has the Crave cat food, and then she has the kitty treats. Some of you have sent her kitty treats, healthy kitty treats. She loves those.
Yeah.
She gets a scratch every day. She gets brushed. Does yours get brushed every day?
Oh, yeah. Well, mine just loves me to just pet her endlessly. And that little part at the base of their tail that they can't get to. Oh my God, she practically becomes orgasmic when I'm.
Oh dear me! Oh.
No, I maybe that's not the correct word to be using.
We could say she goes into ecstasy.
Yes,
ecstatic joy. Ecstatic.
That's a better way of putting it. Before I start getting irate comments.
It's a spiritual experience for her. Well, gosh, Chuck, who's with us today? Let's go ahead and turn the camera around and see who's joining us.
We have Terry here, Karen, Wesley, Wendy, I'm just scrolling through here we have Wendy appears several times. Kitty, Jorge, is that the correct pronunciation?
I think so,
Okay.
yes.
We have Jorge here, Judy, Wendy, Maureen. Oh, I feel like I'm on Romper Room right now.
Joel Tilson, our floor director, is here. Thank you, Joel, for being here.
Yes, thank you, Joel.
Terry Courts.
Andy,
Yes,
Maria,
you're right. Judy Jamerson. Judy Jamerson is here.
Wonderful.
Want to give a special shout out to the amazing Judy Jamerson, great writer. She is the author of Belle. It's a novel by Judy, as we said, and please be sure and check it out. It takes a while if you order it through Eckhart Press. It does take a while to get to you. Chuck is still waiting for his copy. So
I was just going to say, that's why I'm not holding up I'm holding up a phantom copy here. Still waiting on it.
So we may have to delay the interview. It might be like a week late until we can.
Well, hopefully, if it comes soon, you said it can be read in a couple of days. Didn't you say that, Whimsy?
You know, I'm still reading it. I read a little bit every day before bed, though parts of it are really upsetting me. Just life is so damn unfair, and I want life to be fair. And so the part of me, I know it's immature for me to want life to be fair, but Belle, life is not fair. But we have a choice. We can be kind to one another and listen to one another's stories and acknowledge one another's humanity. Belle, you can order it through Eckhart's Press. Hopefully it's available now, they say, but give it at least a week to come to you. Alas, it's, it'd be great if you could get it available on Amazon so it could get to people a little bit sooner. But if Chuck is not able to get it in time, we'll have to delay till October 8th on the interview. That's fine, because I know some people are still waiting for their copy. But that's okay. That's okay. The day will happen. Yes, I have no doubt that it will come soon. It's a great novel, and I'm sure that you will enjoy it. Yeah. Well, do you think we should just get right into it?
Yes.
Do you think we should just get right into it? Have you heard the latest about Sean Diddy Combs?
Well, let's see. One thing I saw that he has a new cellmate. It's Sam. What's his name? Freed. What's his first name?
Sam Altman is his new.
It's his new cellmate because it's barrack style jail cell, and of course he was convicted of stealing billions through cryptocurrency. So, what a pairing that's going to be! You could almost do a two-person play about that,
Mm-hmm. And here's the latest coming out of News Nation. And the other thing I would say is that News Nation is that Tissa Tells, is what I meant to say. Tissa Tells is evidently also doing something about this. He has stopped eating. Let's take a quick look at this from News Nation.
And the update comes via our friend Larry Levine, who has a source close to the investigation. Larry is a former federal prisoner himself who served time at 11 institutions across 5 states and is founder and director of Wall Street Prison Consultants. He advises people who are about to face the same plight, and he joins me now live. Okay, Larry, spill the tea. What are you hearing about Diddy's eating?
Well, I got an inside source there at MDC, and if they knew who it was, they'd really plot. When people go into custody, they have anxiety, they're depressed, a lot of things go through their mind. And one of the things they do is they stop eating.
Okay, let's go ahead and just pause it there for a second. Yeah. Chuck, what do you think? Do you think that this is real? Do you think that that he's genuinely depressed, or do you think that this is a power play by Sean Diddy?
It could certainly be a little bit of both, but I mean, he certainly has every reason in the world to be genuinely depressed. And let's also not forget that he's detoxing. He's coming off all these drugs. typically there is a lot of depression with these people. They're not in the right frame of mind. That could be certainly a factor in this. But yes, it's dramatic. This is a man who understands the power of the media and manipulation. It makes nice news stories, little headlines that he's on a hunger strike, that he refuses to eat, he's worried about being poisoned to death, any number of scenarios
Seriously?
like that.
Do you think he is worried about those things?
Well, I think he's not in his right mind right now, and that can certainly bring out paranoia. But then I don't know. I seriously doubt he would be poisoned, but I think he could believe that in this state of mind he's in right now.
And do you think that he's genuinely in danger? Do you think someone's going to try and kill him? People say like Epstein. Do you think that the same thing could happen to this
something that's a good point you make. I would imagine that security is very tight. They have people guarding him right now to prevent that, because there have been instances of things like this happening, like with Epstein. But it's certainly not impossible. Not impossible. There could be something inside where it could happen, but I would imagine that's part of the reason why they have him where he is, who is his cellmate is someone who's almost as high profile as he is, like safety in numbers, so to speak.
It's interesting what you had said about just losing your appetite. That is true if a person's doing a lot of marijuana and other drugs, which are appetite stimulants. Then it is true that when people give up marijuana, they will lose their appetite for an extended period of time. There's also certain drugs where a person will have vomiting, etc., nausea, and they wouldn't be able to eat even if they wanted to.
Yeah. Well, I remember when we were working at Earth Bar, occasionally I would have people come in who were supervising detox programs for people like coming off of cocaine and crystal meth and drugs like that. And they would tell me they needed supplements to help produce serotonin, to help lift their moods, because these people were so seriously depressed. Like I used to sell things like the amino acid tyrosine. That was a big seller amongst people like that. 5-HTP tryptophan, just anything to get serotonin levels up.
Right, and raising the B complexes as well. Well, continuing on with the Diddy theme, yes, he has stopped eating. The other thing that people may not know is that another accuser has come forward. You want to talk a little bit about this?
Well, I was watching the 3:00 news here in local news, Los Angeles, and I saw her speak. I was moved to tears just listening to her, watching her, crying, talking of the post-traumatic stress she's going through right now, the anxiety, the depression. She's making the claim, of course, that Diddy gave her a drink, something where she was drugged. It put her to sleep. It was probably something like GHB or something. And she woke up bound and gagged. And then she said he repeatedly raped her.
Oh, my God.
I mean, my God. It's just,
yeah, her name is Talia Graves. Talia Graves, yes.
Yeah.
Let's hear it. Go ahead, please.
Oh, no. I was just going to say, I believe her. I bet you were going to play the actual video.
Yeah, let's take a look.
The internal pain after being sexually assaulted has been incredibly deep and hard to put into words. It goes beyond just physical harm caused by and during the assault. It's a pain that reaches into your very core of who you are and leaving emotional scars that may never fully heal. Some of the hardest parts of this pain are the shame and the guilt I have experienced that plays a negative part in my day-to-day ability to function properly. Being blamed, questioned, and threatened has often made me feel worthless, isolated, and sometimes responsible for what happened to me. My family issues made the pain even worse. I was already going through a divorce at the time of the assault and did not get the support that I needed.
Okay, we'll go ahead and just stop it there. I would just say that that's kind of typical, isn't it, for a victim, that they are somebody who winds up in a situation. They're often vulnerable to start, that predators will go after the most vulnerable. And so it's trauma inflicted on people that are already being traumatized. Yeah. You want to talk about it?
I don't even know where to begin here. I agree with what you just said. He obviously playing upon vulnerability. Didn't we also talk about this several months ago when this first broke, that he apparently was playing upon people desperate to make it in the show business industry, to have movie careers, music careers. So he played upon that, which has gone on for decades here in the show business industry, but certainly nothing as dark and sinister and evil as this. I've always known it to be casting directors and unscrupulous managers and that type of thing preying upon these people, but this is a whole different dimension, whole different level.
You and I had a real window into Hollywood, didn't we?
Oh, I still do. I still live here, but yes. You were
Yes.
here. I forget how many years you lived here.
A lot of powerful people told us a lot of secrets.
Oh, yes. That I would often have, shall we say, the quote unquote gossip, because in the store we would get not only executives at the studios, but sometimes even the lower rung people, like makeup artists, electricians, carpenters, people who work the catering wagons. They had more information than anybody else. They were right there on the sets. They were watching all of these things happen. So I've always had an inside track.
Yeah. So for people who don't know, I'm a naturopathic doctor. Chuck is a licensed naturopathic doctor's physician in the state of California. And our job was to work at the Earth Bar in West Hollywood, which was the epicenter of famous people. And our job was to treat them. We treated quite a number of famous people. And we did that for several years together. So I guess what I want to know with how many victims do you think we're talking about?
I heard, just popped in my head, hundreds. I can't substantiate that. That just popped in my head, for whatever that's worth. What do you think, Whimsy?
I think that my next question is because you've been in the business a lot longer than me. You've been taking care of these folks even longer than me, I think. But how do you think this happens? Why do you think Hollywood is like this? Why do you think nobody stopped him? I think what we all want to know is, why do you think nobody stopped him?
He's frankly too rich and too powerful. And when you reach that pinnacle of that amount of power, you can blackball people. You can make a career. You can destroy a career. I say very allegedly, people have been murdered over this. I can't substantiate that, but I do know for a fact, I've known people who have been blackballed. I don't want to give her name, but she's a well-known actress who was in one of the biggest movies of the 1980s. And she did not work for about 5-6 years after that, because the director of that film was very powerful and he blackballed her. And I don't want to give names, but I have seen it happen. Johnny Carson, not that I'm equating him to this, but he was known to blackball and destroy a lot of careers. It seems like anybody in Hollywood who reaches that level of power does this sort of thing. It's ego, it's money. I don't know what else you could call it.
I think the lesson that I see, that I'm observing, is when we want something so badly that we are willing to do anything to get it, that's a spiritual crisis.
I agree. But a lot, there are literally tens of thousands of people who come here to pursue show business, movies, television, the music industry, or even working inside the studios or something. And I've seen the desperation. I've seen the desperation where they will do anything. And even the people who make it, still, they've got to stay on top where they are. Again, I don't want to name names, but I have a friend who went to Vassar College with a well-known actress. And I said, well, what was she like? And she's absolutely ruthless. She would take a truck and back over her own grandmother if it would get her a big movie role or an Academy Award. I mean, I hear stories like that. It's like, I don't know, people's decency seems to go out the window. Or
And it's not necessary, because there are ways you can be an actor. Maybe you won't be famous, or do YouTube, right? I mean, you've found your place, right?
Sure,
I think you're pretty happy as an actor, right?
I'm very happy right now, yes. But I was also going to say I've met a number of really good people, and you did too. When you
Yes,
were at Earth Bar, it comes to mind Carol Burnett. Carol Burnett, I
Yes.
mean, one of the dearest, most beautiful souls I have ever encountered in my life. And I've talked to plenty of people who've worked with her. That woman is not ruthless, and she's one of the
No.
most beloved stars in town. So there are people who are
Who
not
are
evil
very
and corrupt. Ethical.
Julie Andrews,
You were telling me.
a very ethical person. Betty White, very ethical, a nice lady.
And Julie and Carol are best friends, have been for 60 years.
Yeah. So I think that you can get jaded, but there's also people out there that are wonderful, wonderful people. All right. The next thing that we're talking about is something that a lot of people are upset about, and it has to do with the fact that Trump appears to be surging again in the polls in the Sun Belt. And the main reason that he's surging is, here's the thing. If we keep telling everybody that Trump is completely insane, the people voting for him don't care. They don't care. They don't care, because for them, they're concerned about crime and immigration. And in fact, this election, top of the list is crime. The biggest concern people have is crime. At second to that is illegal immigration. And so that's playing right into the hands of the Sun Belt. And so let's go ahead and take a quick look at this video.
We start off in the United States and the race for the White House. Former President Donald Trump is doing slightly better than Vice President Kamala Harris in 3 key battleground Sun Belt states. The Sun Belt is a region in the United States that stretches across the southeast to the southwest. It roughly consists of 16 states, including the swing states of Arizona, Georgia, and North Carolina. According to the latest New York Times Siena College poll, Donald Trump is now 5 points ahead of Kamala Harris in Arizona. The Republican presidential candidate also holds a lead of 4 points in Georgia and just 2 points ahead of the his Democratic opponent in North Carolina.
Okay, so we'll go ahead and stop that there. Basically, what I think people are saying, no, the poll isn't real. We don't want to accept the poll, etc. I would say to people, accept the poll, because it's very important for us as Democrats not to live in our own private Idaho. We're living in our own private Idaho, right? And for the people who are living in the Sun Belt, we have to be able as Democrats to speak their language, and to speak, even if it's a straw man argument, even if crime is down, even if the illegal immigrants are not voting in the United States, particularly for those border states, Texas and Arizona, they see, it doesn't matter if it's true or not, they see Kamala Harris as weak on immigration. What do you think about that?
Well, certainly. Well, for one thing, Trump has the reputation of being a bully, a tough bully. And I think that's what these people look up to. That's what they want, is this tough bully who is going to crack down on this. And maybe they do see her as a little soft. That seems to be the perception of her. But also Trump just has this base of people that's not going to go away. It's like, no matter what Trump says, what Trump does, no matter how crazy he acts, they just staunchly support him and stand by him. So I saw one thing on CNN that said, don't expect to see his numbers go down. They may not go up, but they don't expect them to go down. So this is the challenge for Kamala Harris, and especially with it hinging on these battleground states for the electoral votes, even though she is ahead potentially for the popular vote. We saw what happened with Hillary Clinton.
Well, evidently, she is thinking about going to the border. She's planning a trip to the southern border. Let me see. Kamala Harris, the southern border. Do you think her going to the southern border is going to help, hurt, or have no effect whatsoever?
It almost feels like a drop in the bucket at this point. Yes, I think it will help her to go there, but I think I just don't know that it's going to be enough.
Right. And this is one of those things where Trump got ahead and, put out the fake, the fake news, the straw man arguments, and she is being depicted, whether true or not, her and Biden, as opening the door to illegals, and all these crazy people are now roaming the streets eating cats and dogs. And while most Americans don't believe they're eating cats and dogs, they do believe that the southern border is a crisis, and they are concerned about crime. And when we look at what voters in the United States are most concerned with, top of the list is crime, second, immigration, third, inflation. And these are all areas where they think, well, things were better under Trump. Well, things were maybe less inflation, because a lot of that had to do with trade wars, had the impact on inflation, but also COVID eventually had an impact. Any advice? What do you think that advice we can give to Kamala Harris for the Sun Belt?
Well, certainly she's going to have to make this higher profile. I mean, she might even have to devote some of her advertising, her television commercials, play up the sound bites that are on the news, talking about this, addressing it more. I saw there's still a large percentage of undecided voters who still don't know how they feel about her and what her positions are. So I think it's things like this she has got to amplify, because this could make all the difference.
Yeah, because right now the story is that she was responsible for the border and she is responsible for the mess. And if they keep hitting her on that issue, considering how important this is to swing voters, it could really hurt her in the Sun Belt. Yeah.
When I keep hearing that she's responsible for things, so she's had 3.5 years to make these changes, it's not mentioned that the vice president does not have the constitutional powers to do things like this. The Constitution says they can step in for the president should something happen to the president, and of course they can preside over the Senate, be the tie-breaking vote, but she doesn't have a lot of constitutional powers.
Right, and and the other thing they're not talking about is the fact that Maduro and Venezuela was created by Putin in order to put stress on the southern border and to help create chaos in the United States. The whole entire thing was created by Putin. It goes back to the remotes from 2017, where we saw him focusing on South America. We were all baffled. We had no idea what the heck that was about. Well, now, 5-6 years later, we see it had to do with the southern border.
Yeah. Well, Jill makes a good point here that Kamala needs to talk more about how Trump intentionally killed the border bill, for his own benefit. She could do that in commercials, do more sound bites, but she's got to play it up. I just don't know one visit is going to be enough at this point. And with 45 days to go in the election, is it even possible for her to make more visits? Mm-hmm. And she's certainly smart enough to use her time wisely.
Yeah, well, I definitely hope she does something, and I hope she hits hard, because, again, we Democrats know our story. We know Trump is crazy. We know about January 6th. We know that he is liable for sexual assault. We know all of these things, but that has nothing to do with what's important to the voters in the Sun Belt. It's about Who do they think is going to be tougher on crime, tougher on the border, better on the economy, better on inflation? And whether true or not, Trump tends to pull better in those areas.
Yeah. And his supporters just don't seem to want to believe this. I come from a little town back east, and I'm in touch with some of those people, and I've gotten into a few arguments and brought up some of these issues. And you know what they say? Oh, that's fake news. That's fake news. I'm like, you actually believe that? You actually believe that? But that's how brainwashed these Trump supporters are. They discredit actual news stories, call it fake news. They're still saying that 8 years later after he coin that term.
Yes. So that they don't even trust their yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
Said they live in an alternate reality.
Yeah. And so how can we bridge the gap? How can we be true to ourselves as Democrats, but also be able to speak in a language and ally their fears about crime, about the border, because the border is huge. Arizona and Texas, they're going to be thinking about crime, and they're going to be thinking about the border. And then, of course, inflation is really big, the economy, Social Security. We have to be a lot of retirees in Arizona and Florida. Oh, yeah. How can we make them feel more comfortable about their financial situation?
Yeah. When you just said that, I immediately thought of Trump probably going to try to take away Social Security, Medicare. I mean, he's going to be a nightmare for retirees.
Yes, that's very true. And speaking of fake news, our boy is back in the news, and that would be Elon Musk of Twitter. He's in trouble. He's been running from the SEC. Have you heard about this?
Yeah, that was in the news today. It's just so interesting, all these charges. It seems like ever since he took over Twitter, changed it to X, it's been one of the worst things he ever could have done for himself.
Let's take a look at this brief news story about the trouble that Elon Musk is in.
Securities and Exchange Commission is planning to seek sanctions against billionaire Elon Musk. In a court filing on Friday, the SEC asked to impose what it calls meaningful conditional relief if Musk does not appear at a new October court date. This comes after Musk failed to appear for testimony last week in an investigation related to his $44 billion takeover of Twitter, which is now called X. The SEC is looking into whether the billionaire followed the law when disclosing his purchase of Twitter stock. The federal agency is also focused on whether his statements in relation to the deal were misleading. The securities.
Oops, okay. So what do you think about that? Do you think we're going to finally see somebody taking control of him? Because, I always think of him as somebody who needs to be in control. He needs control.
Yeah. Very much
power and control.
Oh, very much so. That seems to go hand in hand with all of these billionaires, who are self-empowering themselves, buying rocket ships and what have you, and taking over the world. But I mean, he bought Twitter, turned it into X. I was reading somewhere of course, bought it for $44 million. It's now worth about half of that. He's devalued it to where it's worth about $22 million now. They're losing huge amounts of ad revenue. Have you ever gone on there to look lately? I have. It is just.
I tweet him, and he sometimes tweets me back, much to my surprise. And
some disgusting stuff on there now. He allows anything on there. There's pornography, violence, all this stuff for Trump on there. I can't look at it. I haven't
seen any pornography. Maybe I got the wrong friends.
Trust me, there's pornography on there, just about any kind. I was like, what? Yeah, he makes it just available to everybody. No restrictions of any kind. But he bought this, I think, because he wanted to give himself the biggest megaphone in the world. The biggest platform, so where he could preach his messages. But it just seems like it's backfiring, and he's self-sabotaging himself because of this. And here's one of the first results of it. Well, I shouldn't say first, but he's in a lot of trouble. And I wonder how far this will go. Like, I'm wondering if, God forbid, Trump were to be reelected, would Trump just protect him, pardon him, or something? Or would Trump just throw him under the bus like he seems to do with everyone else?
I think that Trump would very much pardon him because he's
Yeah.
Mr. Moneybags. You know.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Good point.
So,
Good point.
well, I thought it might be fun with the time we have left if we did the Empaz Prayer and we did some blitzes and answered some of the questions we have coming in from the audience. Do you think that might be a good idea, Chuck?
I think it's a good idea. Yes.
Yeah. All right. Let's go ahead and
Blitz,
do
blitz,
it.
blitz.
And if you are ready to blitz away, give us the order. Please be sure and tell us your questions. I know that our good friend Joel is here to help keep the floor nice and clean. I already see some questions coming in. So let's go ahead. Let's blitz away. Let's do the Empaz Prayer. And if you could subscribe, like, share, all that good stuff. Think about memberships and think about checking out our amazing merch. People say, why does she got a picture of herself? And why did Chuck got a picture of himself? Well, this would be our merch. You got a cup over there
Oh,
somewhere?
yes.
Osmo?
I'm reaching for it as we speak.
Beautiful, beautiful. These are great ways to support the channel. And of course, we appreciate it. All right, let's do the Empaz Prayer. Okay. I want to call on white light protection for myself and this community as we ask permission from Spirit to access the Akashic records. We call on our spirit guides and our good angels to be with us. Please give us the clarity and the wisdom that is needed to empower all of us on our journeys, to make the best decisions for ourselves, our families, the planet, the people we love, but also to help those that we may have strife with. And together collectively, we say, Amen. I'm going to go ahead and open up the YouTube here since a lot of the time we don't get all the questions. And let's just see what people are saying. All right. So George Egroge, hi, George, has Jorge has a question. Does JFK have a message for the United States and the world? So if we were to bring in energy on JFK, what would he be telling the world?
Well, you know something? I saw that question at the beginning of the show. And usually I don't channel this quickly on the spot, but I did just get a little bit of a hit that I'll just say usually I get a message. It's very simple, but I heard him saying we have to galvanize our energy. We have to galvanize our truth, our integrity. We've got to galvanize. I kept hearing that word. We've got to galvanize ourselves. We've got to put ourselves behind the common good and fight Trump.
Are we galvanizing ourselves enough? I think that we're living in our own, we're just putting on the Midas touch, which is there to make us feel good. We're watching Michael Cohen. All of these channels make us feel good as Democrats, but they're not going to help us win. What's going to help us win?
Energy up there.
We've got to listen to what people are scared of. They're scared about crime. They're scared about the immigrants. They're scared about inflation. They're scared about their retirement. And they think that this guy, and we have to hear that, and we have to respond to it, and we have to respond in a way that helps people have faith and confidence in Kamala Harris's leadership. Mm-hmm. But we can't continue to just look at our own statistics and we're gonna and dance in our own little fishbowl. No. That's not how you win an election.
No.
All right, so I'm going to go ahead and see if there are any cards coming in on JFK.
Okay, but that was just the hit I got when I saw that question. I kept hearing him say we have to galvanize.
Yes.
So I'd like to see what you have. You got your cards.
Oh, are you going to do any cards?
Well, as a matter of fact, I did pull 2 cards here. I got truth. JFK wants the truth to come to the surface. We have to fight for the truth. And if we do so, new beginnings. New beginnings, that's what I got. But
you are so good. You are so good at what you do. You are so good. First off, Page of Wands, which is new beginnings.
Whoa. I guess good. That's just what I got.
You're good. You're good. By the way, if you want to make an appointment, he gives readings too. So Page of Wands, a new beginning, and we've got to be able to get out of our fishbowl, stop attacking people, and have real conversations. Two of Cups, hopes and fears that people are closed. So we have to be able to communicate, respect people, stop insulting people who we want to come to our side, and we have to reach out and respectfully talk to them about what the real issues are. King of Swords is Trump's card, and the clarification over him, reach across the aisle. The Emperor has no clothes, and so it goes back to the truth. King of Swords is also the sword of truth. So it's kind of interesting that we both were getting that kind of energy coming in.
I felt his energy coming through. I did. Because, it was before we started the show, some questions were already coming in, and I saw that, and I just thought, do I have a hit? Yeah. He's watching over this. He's watching over this election very carefully.
All right. Switching gears a little bit to the Ukraine war. As I had mentioned in previous remotes, I felt like there was a good chance that Poland would be the one to have a first strike. And they've just recently had a military parade. It was the first major military parade they'd had in a long time. Joel Tilson says he thinks he thinks Ukraine got the green light to attack Russia with U.S. long-range missiles. Any hits you're getting on Ukraine against Russia at this point?
Let me see. What I'm getting is a bit ambiguous. This could be just my fault. I'm not tuning in well, but I got despair and exhaustion. Despair, exhaustion. The people have just had enough. They're in despair. They just want this to end. That seems to be the prevailing energy, but I imagine you have something much more specific than what I'm getting.
Well, I think that that's very true. I mean, major bombings have now happened where they have just totaled some of these ammunition fields, where they have just wiped everything out. Yeah. You have this unbelievable world support for Zelensky and Ukraine. I never thought that Trump could be, or pardon my French, Freudian slip. I never thought that Putin could take on NATO and win. I don't think it should have taken this long. I think NATO should have gotten involved a lot sooner, taking the weapons of war away from the enemies. And the fact that the world falls with Zelensky. And then Six of Pentacles, the hope and the fear was to receive financial aid. What's interesting is that Johnson and the House approved the money so that there wouldn't be a government shutdown. And I think that included aid to Ukraine. Yeah. And so it went against what Trump, Putin wanted. And we also see this situation changing very rapidly. I don't think Putin can win. And not only that, but they tried to experiment with one of their nuclear missiles, just the silo, and it came back and blew up, and it was filled with something like 15,000 liters of petrol or something. And so the thing just decimated like an atomic bomb, the entire area, and burnt the entire the airfield down. Oh my God. So they're basically, I didn't hear that story. Yeah, that happened like 2 days ago. So,
well, I remember years ago hearing stories about how those nuclear missiles and silos are just sitting there aging and aging. They've been there some of them have been there for decades, and there's even been question if they even function anymore. So that's interesting you said that happened.
Well, this was a missile that was last tested in 2022, and
Uh-huh.
it turned around, dropped, and blew up on top of them with 15,000 liters of petrol and burned everything
Wow.
up around it. And it released such a huge mushroom cloud. It didn't just release a huge mushroom cloud, it started detonating everything around it. So there were multiple explosions as a result.
Oh my God. And I'm assuming you mean a nuclear mushroom cloud. So
Yeah, it looked like a nuclear mushroom cloud.
so that all goes out into the atmosphere, into the winds, gets
Oh no,
spread all over the
there
world.
was it didn't have any nukes on it.
Oh,
It
okay,
was
that was
just the missile silo and the
Oh, okay.
petrol. That
Oh, I
went off.
thought maybe it had radioactivity. So,
Yeah, thank God, no.
oh God.
But had it had nuclear, it would have killed a lot of Russians.
Oh yeah. Well, that would have affected the world.
There were still a lot of Russians that got killed. Everybody on the base got torched, and for hundreds of meters. It was a massive explosion. Crazy. All right, this next question goes back to the Diddy concerns. Joel is asking for the group, do you think that he's on suicide watch? Do you think Diddy's on suicide watch?
I don't even need to ask a pendulum on that. I think he's definitely on a suicide watch. I think just as a precautionary measure, whether it's true or not, I'm sure they're factoring in every possible scenario. So yeah, I think he is, but I'll ask it. Is Diddy on a suicide watch? Yes.
More like a protection.
Yeah, protection. But I'm getting yes, yeah. But I think that's almost a common sense thing that he would be.
People wanted to know also, is somebody going to try and kill him? Is somebody going to try and kill Diddy?
That's a good question.
Is he going to have to pay for protection in prison? Because there's a lot of money. If somebody is offering $50K to kill this guy because he's got me on tape, everybody, how many people in the prison system are like, I'll take that deal?
Oh. Well, I think the potential is definitely there. I don't know that it would happen, but I think you made a very good point there, and I did get a yes. I just tested it
I
right
got a
now
yes
with my
too.
pendulum. Yeah. Did you know that his music sales are up 18%?
Great.
I just saw that this
pay
afternoon.
the victims.
Yeah.
Pay the victims. It's disgusting.
Exactly. It is.
Look at this. Paying for protection, 7 of Wands. He's getting attacked from all sides. This guy is like an animal that's in a cage with a bunch of predators.
Yeah.
So talk about karma. He was the predator.
Mm-hmm.
He was drugging people. He was raping them. The people couldn't escape. Now look at him. He's surrounded by predators in prison. He can't escape, and he's paying for protection.
Oh my
I
God.
will pay you to make sure they don't kill me. That they don't rape me in the middle of the night, that they don't strangle me in the middle of the. Look at that 7 of Wands is in his 7th house, his immediate environment. This guy's not safe.
Oh, he's in hell. He is in hell.
That is hell.
Yeah.
That is hell. He is in hell. And then look at his opposition, the female judge. Remember, I told you he was getting a female judge. He got a female judge.
Mm-hmm.
Dang, you and I are good at our jobs. A little bit of ego there. No. So he's still got to deal with the Torah lady, the keeper of the law. You're right also about the drug problem. Those of you who are talking about issues with withdrawal, look at his main issue and concern, lunacy.
Mm-hmm.
Same thing we say with Kanye West and the others. They go crazy from the drugs. The drugs cause the brain damage.
Well, it rewires the brain. I've known people who have done crystal meth who have done permanent brain damage. I've witnessed it personally.
Oh my God.
Oh,
so horrible.
So tragic.
His finances, by the way, what they're going after is the money. So he's got hidden money. I know that because stuff has come up about his mama. You want to talk about Diddy's mama?
Oh, yeah. I don't know a whole lot about this, but I believe you've addressed it on some of your previous shows about his mother and how she may be complicit in a lot of this, maybe helping to hide funds, helping to facilitate things. I don't know. I can't speak with authority here.
Well, I love good gossip, but I'm also frequently disturbed by this stuff. It's interesting as a remote viewer that he kept talking to his mama in the hallucinations. Let's take a look.
Mother getting implicated in Diddy's legal drama. The streets are saying that not only was Mama Combs allegedly involved in her son's freak-offs, but she allegedly led the freak-offs herself. Child, it looks like the entire family was insanely freaky, but the mother being involved in this is some next level stuff. If y'all...
What do you think?
Whoa. This is going to be one hell of a movie. That's what I was thinking. It's such an outrageous story. It's like, it just gets crazier and crazier. Now,
oh my God.
Mom Combs is involved in this.
You know, I thought I had a screwed up family. I'm thinking that was like Sunday church compared to this. This is like, oh my Lord, my goodness, my goodness. Joel Tilson is talking a little bit about drug withdrawal. Paranoia is paranoia and drug withdrawal. Yes, I think you would see paranoia, particularly if, that is related to, and I actually tested you on that. That was one of the things that came up in discussion when we talked about the balance between dopamine and serotonin. And when serotonin levels are suppressed and dopamine levels are high, it can create paranoia and also adrenal syndrome, where the adrenals are pumping. You see that in war. You have a suppression. This is why people who take drugs that raise dopamine, like amphetamines, will become paranoid, because a sense of ease or calm, which is associated with serotonin, has been diminished. So higher the dopamine, the lower the serotonin. So uppers and downers, when the dopamine is high, the serotonin is low. When the serotonin is high, the dopamine is low. So GABA is another thing we associate with being relaxed and suppressing dopamine. GABA would be benzodiazepines and alcohol. So yeah, I think that it's very likely that he would be paranoid. But the fact that he's dropping his dopamine, I think he would lose confidence, because dopamine gives us a lot of confidence, and you would be losing your confidence.
Also, just for his attention span, for his focus, his rational thinking, a lot of that would be affected by low dopamine, I would think.
Joel Tilson is mentioning Alex Jones. He's back in the news. It looks like he's going to have to be auctioning off a lot of his stuff to pay off the debts to the victims from the many lies he has told about the school shootings, etc. Any feeling about Alex Jones right now?
Well, let's see. He was the radio commentator, wasn't he?
Yeah.
And he was the one who said that wasn't he the one who said the Sandy Hook parents were making up a lot of this, that it didn't happen, or so. It was something just insanely crazy. And of course, a lot of parents justifiably sued him.
Yeah, and but not before he hadn't done tremendous damage to a lot of people.
Tremendous. As many said, it was just psychologically so damaging. How it reignited the tragedy for them. Yeah, it was very cruel.
Joel is saying that President Zelensky believes that the Ukrainian war is nearing an end. That kind of corresponds to what I'm saying, that they don't want to go another winter like this. And I don't think that Russia has much military left. They were going broke when they fired Prigozhin.
Yeah.
So I don't know. All right. So before we close, I like to get a little freaky with you.
Yes.
Yes,
you do.
Yes, but in a kosher sort of nice way. What do you think about simulation theory? Let's talk about a simulation. So did anybody see The Matrix? Did you see The Matrix?
Many years ago.
So the idea is that we are all inside of a computer. We're hooked up to a computer, or we ourselves are the artificial intelligence or the bot inside the computer. And so this entire thing is a dream, which is kind of like Vishnu dreaming in Hinduism. But let's see what Neil deGrasse Tyson has to say about simulation theory. Is this all an illusion? Are we all living a simulation? Let's take a look.
Do you think that we might just be a simulation of something else?
I wish I had a good argument against that, and I do not. Just start with a real universe. You say, I'm going to program a universe in your computer and give the life forms in there the belief that they have free will. Then those life forms create a universe within their computer, allowing their life forms to think they have free will. And it's computers all the way down. Now you close your eyes and throw a dart. Which of all of these universes are you most likely to hit? Because only one of them is real, and all the rest are simulations. Just the statistics of that tell us we are probably in a simulation. And further evidence for this is some brilliant alien in his parents' basement is programming us, and anytime tranquility descends upon the earth, something comes in to ruin the whole thing. And I think they program that in just to keep them entertained. They'll throw in Brexit. They'll throw in wars. Just weird stuff just so that they can watch and be entertained while they eat popcorn. I was told once that anytime peace does break out, it's because they were called for dinner from their parents.
Do you think?
Is that enough to screw you up for life, Chuck?
It sure is. You know, before the show, you sent me the videos for this to watch, and I was like, I don't know what to make of this. I don't know how to comprehend this. And I thought, I'm going to need you to get me up to speed along with everyone else.
Well, how much of what do you think you're a brain in a box? How much of what you see of the world do you think is real? And how much do you think that it's an illusion created by your own mind or your own perceptions? Where do you think you really are in space? Do you even think you exist at all? Are you an illusion? Are you a bot? Is the truth that Chuck doesn't exist?
I've always believed that I existed to this point, but I also know that we are multidimensional. We certainly have seen the power of our thinking, the power of our energy that we put out, how we manifest, how the world mirrors what's going on within ourselves. And so you got me thinking as I watched that video, are those elements of this dreamlike state, you know, that going to these different zones, dimensions that we are aware of within ourselves? Is that just touching part of it even?
It also makes you think, does the great programmer have any ethics at all? If it's all just fun and games and none of it's just him being bored, then there is no grand design. No wonder God keeps doing awful things, because none of it's real and none of it matters. And so when we die, what is that? Well, it's just us being uploaded and turned into something else, reincarnation. It's just they change the program and send us back into the matrix. It's just, I don't know what to think. I think it's, yeah.
You're reminding me of that famous Far Side cartoon, God at his computer. And they show the stereotypical God, the long white beard and the robes. And he's sitting there in front of a computer monitor. And he's about to hit the smite button. On his screen is this doofus walking by with a piano and a rope over his head. And God's about to hit the button to make the piano fall. So you made me think of that.
Yeah. So I guess, if it's all a simulation, if none of it's real, then we might as well enjoy the ride. I think that maybe is the ayahuasca experience. If you look at the 5-AO DMT, when people are smoking the toad and they return back to love, that to some extent, this world is an illusion. It's just energy. But I still believe the Kabbalistic idea that this is a world that we have entered into that is newly formed. It's a low vibration. We are co-creators with God, and it is our job to perfect it and to make it heaven on earth, starting with our own lives and sharing that heaven with the rest of the world. And when this world becomes heaven on earth, which is ultimately the mission of humanity, it will then become a heaven. And then we will leave, we will put on our spacesuits, and then we will go to another raw earth or another dimension, and we will repeat the cycle, because we are co-creators as humans, a little less than the angels. And we choose to incarnate into these worlds as helpers of the Creator to create endless heavens. And so that's basically our job, is that the worlds and the universe are endless, and we're forever incarnating, raising up one world at a time, creating heaven and earth as we go. And that makes sense to me.
That makes a lot more sense. I like the way you phrased it much better than that man did to James Corden. Much better.
And
I can relate to what you just said.
And it calls us to respect our dream and understand that our joy and our happiness, and living our joy and our happiness, is our spiritual obligation as humans.
I love that.
And you are fulfilling your karma. You're doing it. I know you're doing it with Taco Tuesdays and all the amazing art. You said that you had done a second piece of art. Can I see it?
Well, it's basically a handmade clone. I showed this Kamala Harris, trying to face this to the camera. I showed this one last week. And when you suggested maybe this could be auctioned, like
Yes.
for Kamala's campaign, I thought, well, why not start on a second one? So it's basically,
What a good idea.
I never ever copy my own work, but I'm trying to make each one distinct enough where they will each be an original. And if I thought it would do good, I'd make even a third and a fourth. I've already inquired with the Democratic Party in Sacramento. I've made phone calls here in Los Angeles and to Pasadena. I'm still waiting on people to get back.
I think West Hollywood is the place to go. It's all happening in West.
I'll go there also. But when I was in Pasadena, I asked how I could volunteer, and they told me there's a big need for people to do handwritten postcards. I'm not going to turn these around and show addresses, but these are all going to go in the mail to Florida. And they said that handwritten cards make a difference. They get noticed. People take the time to read them. So I'm assuming this is true all throughout the country. Go to your local Democratic headquarters, ask how you can volunteer. They might ask you to just write postcards or something and mail them out if you don't have time to do anything else. But I just can't sit back and be inactive during this election. It matters too much to me personally, to all of us. And I want to take action. So I committed to 25 postcards. I'm going to go back later in the week and get another 75. I'm going to do at least 100.
Good for you. Arizona, think about the Sun Belt, think about the Rust Belt.
Yeah.
And like you said, when you brought in a message from JFK, galvanize, we are all called to do our part. And I will be on Saturday doing another fundraiser, Psychics for Democracy. I think it's going to be at 1:00. I'll be on 1 to 2:30 Pacific Daylight Time, and I'll do another announcement before that happens. So we're all doing our part. Chuck, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you so much. Thank you for being in my life. Thank you for having me on your show and sharing this.
Thank you for being the best naturopathic doctor's assistant that I could imagine, and the best co-host of Taco Tuesdays. You bring good things, good to all of us. And if you would like to have a reading with Chuck, you can reach him. Chuck, what's your address?
It is just, if you can see my name at the bottom of the screen, it's just reverse Dransfield Chuck, one word, @gmail.com.
All right,
That's
there you go.
Thank you.
And anything else you want to say?
Please watch my channel, Chuck's Captivating Chronicles, my show on Mondays, Chuck's Captivating Chat, like and subscribe, all that good stuff. Yesterday on my show, I showed the Kamala artwork. I actually admitted that I'm supporting her. On this show, we talk freely about our politics. And on that show, I try to be a little more neutral, keep it about old Hollywood, I Love Lucy, that type of thing, not bring politics into it. But I said, you guys who watch me on this show, you know how I feel, you know who I support. So I showed the artwork, and I even talked about how I was doing the postcards and volunteering. And I said on my show, whomever you support, whomever, get out there, put your energy out there into the world. And we can't just sit back right now.
Absolutely. And did you do a short of you drawing the Harris poster? I think
yes, I did. I have to edit it together and do a voiceover for it. But yes, I will have that up soon. And I want to talk about my process of how I did the artwork, but also talk about Kamala and see if I can get other people to chime in and have their own quotes about her. I want to do everything I can.
Awesome.
Right now.
Well, thank you. And a shout out again to Joel Tilson for helping us today. And thank you to all of you for taking time out of your busy schedules to spend it with us. If you're trying to get in with a reading with me, you can find the information below. If you need to see me as a physician, that information is also below. So on that note, be kind to all so that all will be kind to you too. God bless. Peace out. And we'll see you next time. Bye, everyone.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you. Love you.
Bye. Love you.